All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. That's right, I am alive, thank you, God. People keep asking me, Chig, are you all right? You haven't done a video in such and such day. Yeah, just, flip it. Sometimes as YouTubers, you need a little bit of a break, even if it's for a couple of days, just to refresh, repump the brakes, recollaborate stuff. And also what it's allowed me to do is allowed me to focus on a couple of other things that I have in the pipeline. So I've managed to get a couple of things that I've wanted to get done. I've managed to relaunch mine and Ola's UFC MMA show. So I've done that, even opened a Twitter for that. All of the details of which are in the description below. Me and Ola have literally just this second wrapped up a show where we review UFC 247 from yesterday. One thing we actually forgot to talk about was the Kell Brook fight from yesterday, but we talked about the MMA stuff. Yeah, I think from our perspective, I just wanted to kind of, final push towards the end of the season. It's important for me to have that break so I can give you the best me to go forward with. So apologies for the slight kind of period of absence, but to reward you, I'm going to do 2 videos today. I was going to do a third, but I'm going to think better of it. This one is basically a earlier version of Late Night with Chig, so mid-afternoon with Chig, I guess this would be, where I talk to you about Arsenal news and rumours surrounding the Arsenal generally. Let's go into it. Let's talk first things first. I was going to start with a Carlo Ancelotti story, but I noticed that the Aaron Ramsey story has completely taken over in the last couple of days. The last couple of hours. So I think I might as well lead with that story, and that is Aaron Ramsey. The bad where every Arsenal fan seems to pay ultimate attention to, because, you know what, in some ways I do get it. I do. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I get it in some ways. We as Arsenal fans have, even me to a certain degree, who's hated him for all of his career, respected him for the way he finished his time at the club. He was told he was leaving, and he still gave everything up until the point he was injured for the club last season. And arguably, we missed him last year. We missed him particularly towards that end push where we lost just stupid games towards the end of Emre's first season. And it was just like, and in the final, we could have certainly done with his energy in the middle. So in certain ways, I get it. And Arsenal fans are very much recent. They very much focus on the recent. They forget things that happened previously. They focus on the here and now. So for the here and now, for Arsenal fans, they don't think about the first 8 years where Aaron Ramsey was dead food. They focus on the last 12 to 18 months where he gave as much effort as possible. If there's ever a saying that applies to Arsenal fans, you're only as good as your last game, Arsenal fans would prefer to remember the last game as Aaron Ramsey being this legendary Arsenal figure who was always world-class and we missed out on 50 million for. That's the way Arsenal fans would prefer to have you have it. My perspective over Aaron Ramsey, if you are an old-school subscriber, and I mean 2 to 3 year, 4 year subscriber, you'll know me and Aaron Ramsey ain't always gone. I've complained on former friends' podcasts about Aaron Ramsey. I've talked about it on my podcast. I've talked about it anywhere else, anywhere that could hear me. Aaron Ramsey, there's no other way of saying it, was my Granit Xhaka. He was just a person that I could not understand why, come hell or high water, Arsene Wenger would decide to play him no matter what. It was a huge source of frustration for me. Yeah, he could run about a bit, but there was nothing about him that made me think, like, I didn't think he was that good of a passer. He certainly weren't a particularly good tackler. He weren't that great defensively. But it seems like the only reason that he got into the team is he had this ability to pick out have those late runs that he would create, that either create space for someone else or he'll create space for himself to be able to score goals. It's an asset, but I didn't think it was an asset that meant that it should compromise our whole team. At least that was personally the way I looked at it. I felt like the last 18 months of his stay, particularly last season, really, I thought he gave as much as he possibly could have as a player. But I'll be honest with you, when it came to Aaron Ramsey, I probably did more than some people did. But when it came to Aaron Ramsey, I was just like, all right, because he gave one emotional farewell speech about how he's on to his dream move and that. So I was like, all right, good luck to you, mate. Unfollowed him. That's kind of my attitude has always been like that, though, when it comes to Arsenal players when they leave the club. My attitude is I'll follow all Arsenal players. I like things like training. I like seeing stuff that, I like seeing stuff where, I like the psychology element of football. So I like seeing who people are close to, what people are like in training, this, that, and the other. I like seeing that type of stuff. So that's why I do like following people. I'm not one of these guys that would necessarily tag players. I think that kind of stuff is goofy as hell. To me, it's in the same caliber as people that go on Arsenal Twitter every weekend talking about announce this, announce that. I just, for me, you won't necessarily catch me doing that as an Arsenal fan. But I like genuinely just keeping in touch, just finding out what they're saying, really. But my attitude has always been when Arsenal players leave, that's it. I'm done. I bounce. Obviously, I didn't have Twitter when Thierry Henry was around. Let me tell you something. As much as I love Thierry Henry, I'd have the same damn attitude. Everyone knows that Carlo is my favorite Arsenal player ever of all time. I'd have had the same attitude as soon as he went to Portsmouth. See ya. Do you know, it doesn't really matter who it is. As soon as you stop playing for the club, I don't really give a damn what you're doing. That's just my attitude, personally. But every week you see people talking about, oh, Aaron Ramsey almost got himself an assist, or Aaron Ramsey actually scored one of his 2 goals since moving to Juventus last season. Or Aaron Ramsey, oh, he was such a glorious player, maybe there's a way of getting him back. So Arsenal fans have flirted with this idea a lot about bringing Aaron Ramsey back. I've never been totally keen on him even when he was here, so you damn sure know I'm not keen on him coming back. Until today. There's a story that has come out very recently from, it looks like, the Italian media, and they believe that Aaron Ramsey is set to leave the club in the summer. They believe that essentially he's obviously only had 18 appearances so far this season, and that Maurizio Sarri is not particularly impressed by him. He has scored 2 goals in 18 appearances, but the fact that he's only had 18 appearances, I guess, should tell you all you need to know. I must admit, I hate giving my man credit, but I have to give him credit. Me and Lee always thought this move was a strange move because it's not a technical player. Actually, this move suits a Mesut Ozil more than it does an Aaron Ramsey. Mesut Ozil likes time in the ball and is a little bit more technical and that. Aaron Ramsey is an athlete. He's a runner. And going to the Italian league, to me, never felt like a move that would suit him. Spain and Italy never felt like moves that would suit him. Like staying in England felt like a move that would suit him. And Lee always went one step further and said that, he'd end up in Juventus within 18 months. Guess who's one of the favourites to sign him? That's right. Everton are one of the favourites to sign him, alongside Man United and, of course, Arsenal. My perspective on this, no thank you. He seems like a nice enough geezer. I don't really have anything against him personally. He does his thing. It is what it is. But I personally couldn't wait to see the back of him when he was here. I know I'm probably in the minority when I say this. I just never thought he was all that. I never thought he was all that. I thought he showed a lot of commitment, heart, desire, but I just think of all the type of players we need. All right, forget defense for a second. Of all the type of players we need in that midfield, an Aaron Ramsey type is not the type we need. We need, to be honest, in some ways, a Decore type isn't necessarily the type we need. We need a Soromir or someone defensive like an Ndidi or someone like that. Someone combative in that midfield. I just think bringing Aaron Ramsey back would be so short-sighted, and also it would just show how calamitous we are. Let me get this straight. You let this guy disappear in the first place because you didn't offer this guy a new contract in the first place. Then you did. Then you took it off the table because you felt it was too much. You then spend a lot of money to bring him back. It would be such an Arsenal thing to do as well. This just make no sort of sense of logic. The little money we do have, we spunk it on a player that we should have got rid of in the first place. I just hope we are sensible, calm, and make a rational decision about Aaron Ramsey. But for me, personally, no thank you. I'm not even a little bit, tiny bit interested in trying to secure Aaron Ramsey's return. So that's my thought process on Aaron Ramsey. You guys let me know what you think. Leave it in the chat room. I'll come and join you guys in a minute. If there has been any donations, I will come to them. I do apologize. I haven't actually had a look yet. Let me have a quick peek, just in case I do miss them. But yeah, do apologize if I have missed them. Not quite looking in the chat room at the moment, but I will be back shortly as soon as I've done talking about these stories. Let's talk about this other story that I seem to have angered my Twitter fans on. Now, for me, with Twitter, I have a very straightforward process. My process is very simple, and it very much is this. If somebody puts something out on Twitter which I don't agree with, you will not see me crap all over their Twitter. But for some unusual reason, and I've fallen out with people who I thought were friends for this exact same concept, right? If I go on my Twitter, all I'm doing is displaying my opinion on something, right? And it's not meant to anger anyone else. This is just how I feel. I'm getting it off on my platform, and that's what it is, right? So I say that to say this. I started, apparently, an absolute Twitter explosion on my page. I didn't realize what was happening until I signed back on again at around 8 o'clock. I just basically put, never did I imagine that I'd be jealous of Everton. They had the foresight to bring in Carlo, and he's doing a great job. Hashtag Everton versus Crystal Palace. For those of you who don't know and want some further context, Everton won against Crystal Palace. They are now 7th, and they're 5 points away from relegation. I should also, at this point, let you know that prior to Carlo Ancelotti joining, Everton were 17th, desperately fighting relegation. And since Carlo's come in, they've lost once in all competitions, and they've won 5 games, which, when you compare to our is it 1 in 8 that we are now? It's not exactly great stuff, is it? It's not exactly great reading. Now, I know what people are going to say. Oh, but Chig, don't be like Lee. Oh, you're going to be so impatient. And you know, this is a slow process. And you know, I trust in Arteta. I feel like I you know, he knows what he's doing, even though there's no real tangible evidence to necessarily suggest that. I mean, there isn't. Not really. Let's be honest here. And I'll be the first person to say that I think Arteta's improved. I think Granit Xhaka's improved. I think Lucas Torreira's improved. And I think Hector Bellerin's improved. Right? I'll give you those 3 players. Right? But if you talk about it statistically, what has actually improved? We still get draws. We still won 1 in 8. We're still 10th. What has actually improved? And then some people say, oh, well, so what are you saying, that you wouldn't have had Arteta? Well, no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have had someone who was a novice with absolutely zero experience. And people will come back to this like I'll be embarrassed in a couple of years' time if it all works out. So let me say that to now say this. I sincerely hope Arteta knows what he's doing. I sincerely hope that Arteta embarrasses me and does all the things he needs to do in order to turn the team successful. I sincerely hope that Arteta shuts my mouth and we go to Newcastle next week and destroy them, right? No problem. I haven't said Arteta out. This is what people will neglect to tell you. Not once have I said Arteta out. But I still think that the whole notion of this is ridiculous. It just is. It is. Because if you were going to get to Arteta anyway, my personal preference would have been, why not go and get your established manager? Now, everyone knows I would have picked Rafa, personally. But hell, I wouldn't have been against Carlo Ancelotti to do a 2-year, max 3-year job, stabilize us in the Champions League. Because let's be honest, we were free-falling. So we needed stabilizing. You don't give a stabilizing job of any type, forget football, of any type, to somebody that's never managed before. You don't do that. Doesn't make any sense. Right? And then you would have thought I said something terrible yesterday. I had Giles come on, who has this tendency for some reason, where whenever I tweet something, there is tendency to just jump on it, regardless of what I'm saying. I have a few, to be fair, I have a couple of followers like that. I've noticed I'm three or four followers down since this argument on Twitter, which, cool. I prefer that to be the case. I prefer that to be the case. If you can't respect me for my opinion, I would prefer you do what you're doing. Not an issue, right? And then we're like, oh, so what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that you should pay Carlo Ancelotti 14 million. And what he didn't understand is, bruh, if you're Everton, you've got to pay 14 million for a manager like Carlo Ancelotti to come there. Do you honestly believe that had we sacked Emre and thought quickly like a normal club and said, all right, let me take this 10 mil and go and say to Carlo Ancelotti, who was about to be fired by Napoli at the time anyway, by saying to him, listen, here's 10 mil, right? What we want you to do is nice and easy, just have a quick patch-up job, bring us back to the Champions League, or at least challenging for the damn thing, so that in the long term, you can then go and identify if it's Patrick you want, cool. If it's Arteta even, cool. If it's someone else from abroad, cool. But that's how, to me, that would have been the logical way of doing it. You don't give an inexperienced manager all this work to do. I'd rather give the hard, gritty stuff to the experienced manager who can then patch us up, do what we need to do, drive us up that table, drive the morale through the roof, than, oh, well, Arteta knows what he's doing because he's given us a little bit of a peak of life down there at 10th, and we played marginally, arguably, better football at 10th, and we're passing the ball around a couple more times than we did under Emre, and 3 players have improved under him. So that's justification for me that he's the man to take us forward. Even though we're still 10th and we still only got 1 in 8. The arguments, the sort of responses I was getting from this, I couldn't believe the logic. So I said to him, so there was one geezer in particular, right, outside of Giles. And I said to him, so let me understand what you're trying to say, because I was confused by the argument he was making, right? Let me see if I can find this geezer. 1 second. Let me 1 second. Two seconds. I know this dead air stuff isn't exactly the most useful thing to have on YouTube, right? This is him. He goes, Ancelotti's a short-term fix. We went for Arteta in the long term in mind. Give it 2 seasons. We'll be back challenging whilst Everton sit at mid-table. What in the recent results tell you that, my brother? What tells you that? Well, you You're just plucking stuff from the air. How does that even make sense? What do you mean? Everton will be sitting mid-table while we challenging. What tells you that, my bro? Because 3 players have improved and we're passing the ball around a couple more times than we did previously. What are you talking about? So I was so confused by the logic. I actually decided to go back at this guy and I said, hold on, because this don't make no sense. So I need to understand what exactly he's talking about, right? So I said, so he went to me. Hold on, let me went back to it, right? Sorry, I'm sharing this with you because this is why I need to get off Twitter. Things like this is why I need to get off Twitter. He goes, I don't think any manager could have done better than Arteta with the group currently. Sometimes it just takes time. Once again, how do you know that? Like how? How is it possible that you know that? So let me get this straight, right? The logic of climbing a table is now outweighed by the long-term potential of this team. People would rather choose potential over points. I'm not even necessarily saying don't hire Arteta, even though I wouldn't. But even if you want to hire Arteta, all right, go and do your thing. What I said was, would it have made more choice to pick the man that everybody said was washed up? And I mean everybody who's on Twitter. Every important account that you see on Twitter. Oh, Carlo's washed up. Not for me, you know. Not for me. My man's driven Everton to 7th. While we're still holding our pricks at 10th. Hoping and praying that maybe, just maybe, we might get a hard-on. Meanwhile, Everton are on their way. They're giving that girl the long stroke that we should already be doing. Talking about, potential. Oh, well, you know, you just wait and see because we'll finish above Everton next season. What tells you that? They got more money. They're more prepared to spend it. What tells you that? Talking about. So then this geezer tried to get smart. So he said, oh, well, you're saying that we should have gone for the experienced person. Wasn't that Emery? Nope. That was just the incorrect choice, as it now turns out. Just because you hire one experienced manager doesn't mean you stop going down that route. It just means you hired incorrectly. They ain't got you, but if one is convinced that Arteta is good enough, why defer his appointment further? Carlo's record was known. Give Arteta time. If he doesn't deliver, fine. But caution driven by fear isn't the way forward. We must dream beyond and dare. Dream beyond and dare. Cool. Maybe it's because I work in the reality of, I don't know, reality. Now, I'm not talking about dreaming. I'm all for being ambitious, but I'm also realistic. The realism is that we are closer to being relegated than we are to challenging, bro. So before we dream and dare, how about you patch up and make sure that the worst doesn't possibly happen? For me, and maybe it's my industry, I have a very strict focus. You plan for the worst, you hope for the best. We are having our worst season, full stop. So forget the dreams for now. Put that on the back burner for now. You patch up that ship, make sure you don't sink before you then dream of owning something flasher than the Titanic. So I asked him, so who says he's the right appointment now? The results? Come on. And he goes, this is where I decided, right, I'm checking out of this conversation. He goes, it's interesting that you'd focus on one metric. It isn't up to speed yet, ignoring the others. I remember last year when we beat Inter 5-1, we started with 3 straight losses, and I saw the results did not match the performance, and it won't be long before the truth is out. Cool. You're talking about one anomaly result. And to say that, oh, well, I'm focused on one result, on one metric, mate, results are the metric. They're the most important metric. What are we talking about here? This is the thing. These are the kind of people that would rather focus on a Mesut Ozil, on how far Mesut Ozil's run in a particular game, or how many passes Mesut Ozil hit in his own half because he recycles the ball, rather than what was the result? Did Mesut Ozil score? Hell, I'll even give you this. Did Mesut Ozil even assist? Oh no. Oh, okay. So what are we talking about here? The only metric is a result. We're in the results business. Oh my gosh. I literally had to just check out of that conversation. Because when people have just decided in their hearts they'd rather go for the romance and the meaning behind Arsenal instead of the reality behind Arsenal, you can't argue with this. Because they believe that they've seen life under Arteta. They've seen the man get something out of substandard players, so they believe that he is the answer. And I'm not even necessarily saying, because again, people were harder listening, I'm not even saying that Arteta necessarily isn't the answer. I'm not Arteta out. But I watched that game at Everton Crystal Palace, and I'm bringing it back all the way to my original tweet. And I looked at that and I just thought to myself, so why couldn't we have had that in the meantime and wait for Arteta just to mature, nurse himself, just relax? He will learn a little bit more from Pep. Who the hell knows, right? Just mature a little bit, get Carlo Ancelotti in, bring us back to that level, right? Make the hard decisions like a Mesut Ozil, like a Granit Xhaka. Yes, I know he's playing well now, but whatever. Like a Mustafi. Because right now, all Arteta's doing, and I don't even necessarily blame him in a way, is he's trying to be friends with everybody. He's trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because if you listen to Arteta, he ain't going to sell anybody based on his boss. Well, Mustafi can potentially have a future and this, that, and the other. And before you guys even say it, yes, I know that's psychology. I know he's trying to tell them what he needs to hear in order for us to be able to get get some sort of cohesion in the team. But his actions is the things I'm more concerned about. The fact that we all are sat here worrying about that Newcastle game, wondering if he's going to play Mesut Ozil, knowing deep down he's going to play, worries me. The fact that Mustafi is still considered the second or third best defender in this team worries me. The fact that the way he makes substitutes late, especially when he notices things are not going right, worries me. There are a number of things that worry me. And I'm not deluded by the fact that, yeah, okay, he's made improvements. But this boy has holes. And he has understandable holes because the man doesn't have the experience required. So before everyone gets on their hype, I'll remind you to my previous tweet. What was really the problem with bringing Carlo, or at least asking the question? Who knows? Maybe they did. Asking the question and saying to Carlo Ancelotti, listen, we'll give you 2 years, plus we'll give you an extra year option, right? Here's 10 mil, go do the thing with the team. But we need you to get Champions League football. Set him a hard, fast target. We need a patch-up job. We don't need reinvention. We need a patch-up job. The reinvention comes later. You get us back to the Champions League. You get us that Champions League money that apparently we're gonna need so badly. Then, if you want to bring on your Nagelsmans, your Artetas, your whoever the hell the next big thing is, then roll them in, bruh. All I said was, what was the problem having a 2-year manager, 3-year manager? Then I had and then you had Giles coming in going, oh, well, who's going to want to be there for 2 years? Like Carlo Ancelotti ain't going to want to go there for 2 years. Until I showed him that other than Chelsea, his last few jobs have been 2, 3, 18 months, a year. He was there as an interim manager. Because let's be real here, it's football. No one's there longer than that. No one's there for much longer than that these days, unless you are hugely successful. There is no way at that time Carlo Ancelotti is saying no to that. Everton have to pay 14 million. They have to. They have to give Carlo Ancelotti a 4.5-year contract. Because why would he go to Liverpool otherwise? Because unless you are managing Liverpool, he's not going there. He's not going to go and live in Liverpool to manage Everton unless he's getting some serious dough. This is just logic. I'm so annoyed because I promised myself I'd approach Twitter in a new way. But then when you get some stupid arguments, you're just like, what are these people seeing that I'm not seeing? Am I the one being stupid? Like, I don't understand. But anyway, I argued it until I decided, you know what? I've shut at least a couple of these people down. And it is what it is. But for me, personally, I have a rule. On my Twitter, I will never argue or impose myself on someone unnecessarily on someone else's Twitter. When you come on my Twitter and I feel disrespect, I will argue even harder. And then I had someone else who I noticed blocked me because I defended myself, even though they insulted me a couple of months ago. They suddenly unblocked me, calling me bro. You're not my bro. You blocked me unnecessarily. Oh, woosah. Anyway, I've calmed down now. This is why I like this. It's my detox. It's my woosah. So I hope you guys have. I know some of you enjoy my rant, some of you don't. But I hope you guys, even if you don't agree, all I hope is that everyone in here at least, how can I put it? At least understands what I'm saying. But anyway, you're right, Bertrand. I shouldn't take it so seriously. You're absolutely right. But anyway, for everyone that is in here, please do stick a like on this video. I know I owe you guys a bit of a Q&A session. It's been a long time. I won't go till 4 with that, just because this is my second show. I've done it back to back after doing one with Ola earlier. But what I would say, let's go till 10:02. So at 3:50 p.m. UK time, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna literally sit here chilling. Please bombard me with questions. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll be back later on tonight with a pre-recorded thing. I won't tell you what it is. You'll see what it is, and you'll go from there. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy it. I've scheduled that to drop around 8 o'clock, so it won't be a live thing. It will purely be a pre-recorded thing that I've finally done. So hopefully, you like it. I've added something new. I want to see if you like that something new. So far, actually, technically, the only person that's seen. There's only 2 people that have seen this new thing that I'm about to show you, and that is Lee and Ola. And both of them like it. So I'm going to put that later on. Check it out. Give me some feedback. Let me know if you like it. Oh, right. That's enough of my rabbiting done. What are you lot saying? Please do ask me questions. No question is too silly. Again, if I missed any donations, I apologize. Feel free to donate, but once again, you genuinely don't have to. I only say that just in case, because people weirdly do still ask me, how do I donate? I'm like, you know that weird thing that looks like an S? That's how you do it. Liverpool, you never walk alone, is active in the chat. I want Aaron to come back. We should let him, providing Ozil leaves. You don't remember Aaron Ramsey as a number 10, do you? He weren't that effective. He was usually at his best as a number 8. For me, I just think so. Why spend money on Ramsey when you can spend it on better and younger? And I emphasize younger. He's 29 years old, you know. Uh, yeah. How is Ola? I've not seen him in a while. So funny enough, I did mention to Ola on Friday that people have been asking about you and that. And they miss you. They miss him on Arsenal related stuff. So I will get Ola on at some point to do an ask. I haven't done a podcast this season. I'm aware of this. I will fix this, particularly over the next coming days. I'm targeting Ola to be part of that at some point. He's just busy, works a lot. That's all. Okay, it's an interesting point of view from Armour. Interesting. Uh, we don't need a 10. We have a good 8. Yeah, but I just don't think Ramsey is that guy. He's 29 years old. The money you spend on Ramsey, why not get someone younger and potentially, at least technically, better than him? That makes no sense. The fact is, we do spend. No club, no club needs to only buy players. Um, I must admit, I'm not. I, don't get me wrong. I don't think necessarily we are Man City with it. We're not flush with our money, but it's correct. We do spend. My worry is more of our strategy. I think our strategy behind our spending sucks. We spend too much money on average players, therefore we can't shift them on. We hold out unrealistic fees for players that we're not going to get. A good example is Henrik Mkhitaryan. Roma wanted to spend 8.5 million on him. Arsenal wanted 10 million. It's just like, why are you nickel and diming for? Just accept the 8.5 million, cut your losses, move on. Come the summer now, we're going to find it difficult to shift him. It's stupid decisions like that. It doesn't make me shame. Our strategy sucks when it comes to recruitment. It sucks. That just needs to be stripped apart and looked at again. I mean, the whole team. There's a couple of players who are good enough, in my opinion. Chig, how am I? Well, you just missed the rant from me, but I'm okay. Thank you. I did. Bertrand. Me and Ola have literally just done a review of the whole card. So go check that out on our combat show. The link is in the description below. Chig and Ola's combat show. Go check that out and see what you think. We give a good hour review. That's why I'm flagging right now. I feel like I need a drink. I should have gone into 2 back-to-back shows like this, but you do what you got to do. Would I buy Donnarumma? No, I don't rate him the way some of you guys do. No, I wouldn't. He's got to prove himself a little bit. This guy, I would and this is why I like Ben right here. Ben suggests stuff that's already in my head. 100%. 100%. Hell, even Ziyech. Even Ziyech. You would get for cheaper than Aaron Ramsey. Because let's face it, I think Juventus want a good 35 million for him. No thanks. That kid for final. Let's get Kai Havertz. You guys, I think you guys are going to have your heart broken with this Kai Havertz. He ain't coming to Arsenal. He ain't coming. But Grealish or Ziyech, yes, I agree with you. Although I hear Grealish is a United fan, and United apparently are properly on the case for Jack Grealish. And to be fair, with Pogba going, I think he'd be a good replacement, actually, to be honest. will set us up for the future. Ramsey would be good, I guess, if no one else is available. Bob, you got too much faith in Ramsey, my man, but fair enough. You are welcome to your opinion, my guy. I don't rate Grealish. I don't think he'd fit with us. Yeah, I think you're in Lee's camp with that one. I think the fact that he's something a little different to what we have is exactly why we need him. You know, I even say to Lee, you can't tell me that this guy is not better than Granit Xhaka. You can't tell me that. And Lee's response is, yeah, but you're better than Granit Xhaka. It's like, yeah, but we don't talk about me right now. Ancelotti turned Calvert-Lewin into a prime R9 while Arteta can't get a tune out of Laka. And this is the thing, right? People would have listened to all that, give it, ready for if Arteta becomes successful. And I will only say this one more time. I want Arteta to be successful. I want him to turn this team around. I just think he's been... I actually blame the board more than Arteta. I don't think the board have given him a chance. And that's why I would have gotten a short-term option first before you go for your long-term option. Everyone knows my short-term option would have been Rafa. You give Rafa a quick 2-year contract, 10 mil, tell him to get us into the Champions League, win us a cup. That's what... He's a specialist in that type of thing. That's exactly what he would have done. But there's value in those short-term managers. But if you argue against Arsenal fans, and this is why I had such a problem with what Giles was saying, this is like, what are you talking about here? Everton, of course, had to come with the funds, had to come with the contract and offer 4.5 years for 14 million. What Everton offer have to do with us? Just because Everton offer that doesn't mean we have to go to that. It's Everton, of course. They have to attract him. Forget where we are in the table right now. We're a big enough club where we can get a Carlo Ancelotti. I'm sorry. Come on. I read that Grealish wants to go to United. He's a United fan. So, yes, he probably does want to go to United. I could see our joke board bringing back, yes, 100%. You know when I started to hear stories that the board would have bring back Arsene Wenger for a feel-good atmosphere. So I know these lot are absolutely clueless about they literally do not know the fan base. Because I don't care if you love Wenger or you hate Wenger. One of the biggest reasons there's a divide in the fan base is because of Arsene Wenger. So why would you bring that source of tension back? Oh, flip. So ridiculous, so dumb. Honestly, so dumb. This is what I'm saying. For me, it's not the spending that's the problem. The strategy of the board is bamboozling. The spending isn't so much of an issue. I know people would like us to spend money like when Man City. It's not going to happen, people. But one thing I will say is, and this is why you won't necessarily see me talking too much about spending. My issue with spending is more the time it takes to complete a transfer. That's where my issue with spending is. But I am not stupid enough to not recognize when we, of course we spend money. It just takes us time to do it. And when we do it, we buy some useless player. Like, what are we doing? Rafa was doing pretty well at Newcastle given the circumstances. 100%, but I also give Steve Bruce something. He's still keeping them ticking over, to be fair. But yes, I think he was. Because Steve Bruce has at least been given money. Rafa was barely given money. Until the last year or so of his deal. He weren't really given money and just constantly dragging them from being relegated. That's the thing. That's just the decisions. It's the board decisions that are the problem. I take Wenger back as a life president or an ambassador. Not for me. It'll be a source of distraction for the fan base and then subsequently the players. Marbles, come on, man, you're sharper than that. You normally understand psychology. I'm surprised by you. But again, you are welcome to your opinion. Wenger would give us 500,000, and that's the other thing. What role would he come back into? Could have given him a role of influence. Yeah, he's in my fantasy football team. Not my fantasy football team is doing anything right now. I'm damn near giving up on my fantasy football team. All right. 4 more minutes and I'm out of here. Yeah, you thought I forgot. Nope. 4 more minutes and I'm out of here, guys. Apart from anything, I need to drain the rattlesnake. So 4 more minutes and I'm out. Emily, you gone. I ain't seen you pop up in the chat since earlier on. Only way Max Aarons joins Arsenal is if Bellerin leaves. I personally see him going to the scum down the road. Starboy, I think that's an excellent assessment. Tottenham have always been favourites for him. And I think it will take something special for us to convince him to come to us instead. Big up, Chig. You're a cool guy. Thank you, my bro. Hope you subscribed. That's a new name, so I've not seen that one before. Do you think Wenger improved the players, or was that a farce? Of course, Wenger improved the players. When he first came in, 100%. Of course. Even the most hardened Wenger out will accept his first 10 years couldn't have gone much better. He improved everything, not just the players, everything around him. The spot on jersey. I don't oppose Wenger coming back, just in a capacity role, would be at least detached from the team. I like Max Aarons. If he goes to Spurs, I'll be gutted. Yeah, me too. DJ Crane, I didn't say that. You said that. I didn't say that. Miss Smith, I hope you're well, my dear. And I knew you would say that. I wouldn't. First time I really disagreed with you, Joanna. First time I disagreed with you. I wouldn't. See, Emily is about. She's about in the shadows. I thought I saw it earlier. Chig, did I see pictures of Almunia in training? Oh gosh, I hope not. I don't want him coaching goalkeepers. We got enough problems goalkeeper wise. I don't want him coaching a damn thing. No. Chig, we need a Noor central midfield. That's is it Leon? I was going to say Leo. Leon as central midfielder, yeah. Upamecano, Aarons, Axel Witsel. I don't know why people love a bit of Axel Witsel. Not for me. And Orazabal, left winger. I'm not too fussed about left winger, but I agree with the rest of your list. Oh, other than Witsel, we could get a better DM. I'd rather Silmia. I reckon if he was training, he was coaching. And that's the answer to that question. Do you think we'll be in the last for the Europa League? Oh, that is a good question. Oh. I'm leaning towards no. I'm hoping to God I'm wrong. But I'm leaning towards no. Oh, you're definitely in the league camp with that one. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I must admit, I'm a little bit with Omar there. I'm a little bit with Omar there. There are a couple of people I'm still a little bit salty with. Henri, when he didn't finish his one-on-one chance in that same game, and Almuna for letting 2 goals go in at his near post, both of which he should have saved, especially the first one. The first one was a bunch of bullshit, and it just put us under pressure. Chig, would I have Big Mac Fabregas for a year? I would have done prior to this season. It's a little year older now, probably be a little bit slower. But to play like a little park role, I think that Fabregas will probably technically still have it. Why did everyone still want 100 million players? We ain't Real Madrid. Look at what Liverpool done. Be like them, get cheap, hungry players. And Dante, I think Dante's hit the nail on the head. For me, I think Kenny Ken once made this point and was an excellent point. I'll always credit Kenny Ken for this one. Kenny Ken goes, why is it we don't look at the Premier League a lot when it comes to talent? Because he goes, when you look at Liverpool and what they did, they were very clever. If you look at most of their team, Mane, James Milner, Henderson, Lallana, who I know we're being linked with, I'll come back to that. I'm trying to think of their team. Van Dijk, Robertson. I know Trent was their academy graduate, isn't he? Can't think of someone else I'm definitely missing. They're all Premier League guys. Van Aldrum. They're all Premier League guys. And they all got them for decent prices. Van Aldrum cost 7 million. Mane, I think, cost 32 million at the time when we were all like, whew. Tell you what, that looks like a snippet now, doesn't it? You know, I think Lallana, all these players cost relatively cheap, bar Mane. Like, we need to look more at our own shores. And that's why I don't mind the idea of Grealish. I don't mind the idea of Grealish. Maddison, of course, but I don't think Maddison, why would Maddison come to us? This is why people always say, but what about Maddison? Yeah, of course, but I don't think he'd come to us. Grealish might actually come. Max Aarons. These sort of players I think we need to invest in. There's some real overtime here. What's going on? Chig, who would be your first choice to fix our defense? My first choice would be Koulibaly. If money was no object, Koulibaly. Realistically, I've got to admit, you guys have noticed I'm not huge on singing Upamecano's name. I like the player. I think he's a raw talent. His injury record worries me a little bit, especially that knee worries me a little bit. For me, I'd personally go and get his defensive partner, Canute. That, for me, would be the choice. You play him alongside Saliba. Let's see what the hell happens. But yeah, I quite like our new signing. I like Mari. I'm expecting good things from him. Because unlike you lot, I don't think pace is the be-all and end-all. I think they'll fit in quite nicely. So yeah. I've been saying this forever though, that we should be getting Canute. Because he's just the better defender out of Upamecano and Canute. They play together, usually. But Canute's a year younger, and actually he is taller. He's like 6'3", whereas Upamecano's 6 foot. To me, he's the more capable player. But that's just my personal opinion. What's up, Chig? Lewis Dunk. Oh gosh. Matip was cheaper. Matip was the one I was trying to remember. See what I'm saying? All right, Alisson's obviously their keeper, but still, I think we need to look to our own shores because then at least you're getting people who you know can play in the league. There's something to be said about that. Alexander Gomez in the house. What's the deal on Tierney? Overrated. Alex. But bro, I love you normally, but that is some madness you've just spoken of. You watch. Tierney will come good. I'm not worried about Tierney at all. I noticed he's starting to get some doubters because he's obviously had a couple of injuries. But he's now training. I think he's got enough in his game where I believe he'll come good. Just hold on. If this time next year we're still waiting for a Tierney to blow up, then all right, cool, I'm with you. But I've just got a feeling. Just hold on. Supposedly, Kolasinac is up and running in terms of coming back for the Newcastle game. So I'm expecting him to start. And obviously, Tierney is now in light training. People say he's in full training. He's not. He's in light training. He still can't. He's kicking the ball around, but he still can't take a challenge yet. So he's in light training at the moment. Please explain about Ancelotti. Canada, I've literally just come out of a massive segment about Ancelotti. You're going to have to rewind back, my bro. Rewind back. Ziyech or Madison. Yeah, for me, I would love either one of those two. You know this already. All right. Listen, Mr. Gomez, I got a feeling you got some money, right? Because thank you again for the donation. We should have a quiet bet between me and you about whether Tierney will succeed. I'm very confident. If he could just stay fit, I'm very confident he'll succeed. Very confident. Chig, Mr. Taylor, hope you're well. All right, 2 more minutes. I'm out of it. 2 more minutes, guys. Please do stick a like on this video. I'll be back a bit later. Pre-recorded something for you guys. That will drop at 8, so do keep an eye out on it. And yeah, it is what it is. Nah, man. I've done 10 minutes overtime so far. I'm out. Alex Gomez. I think people think you're the new VP, my bro. But I'll always appreciate the love, my guy. Always. I think someone's put a veto on there. I think VP's wife has put a veto on his card because I seen him donated ages. Not that he has to make that clear. 30 more minutes. Oh, guys, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 5 more minutes, and I'll tell you why I'll give you 5 more minutes. I'm gonna credit that to my man dropping me another donation, even though he definitely doesn't have to. But thank you, my guy. And I'll do 5 more minutes because I want to tackle what Mr. Gomez has just said. So there you go. Alex has just bought you guys another 5 minutes. £500 he won. I see no skill. All right, easy, big fella. 500 quid. All right, let's bring it on back. 500 quid, you know. My man is boiling out here. It's about 500 quid. Let's talk about $50. $50 that he becomes a player this time next year. $50, me and you. 500 quid, you know. Jeez. Thank you, bye-bye. Thank you. Will you be on the Q&A with Lee? I don't know about a Q&A, mate. I don't know. So I'm guessing not. Chig is moving like Vega. Straight out, 500 quid. I was like, let's bring it around. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. I ain't got VP money. $2 million, Tierney will flop. You got 2 million, yeah? Would you promote Harry Clark? Who is Harry Clark? Probably not. I feel like I should know that name, but I don't. Do you know who I might consider promoting though? You know Robbie Burton? I'd consider promoting him. Okay, it won't buy me gas for a vehicle. I got it. Oh dear. Listen, if I'd won the lottery this weekend like I'd planned to, then I'd be like, forget 500. Let's make it 1,000. I ain't got that sort of dough. 50 quid though. $50. I say dollars. Notice I say dollars because that would be slightly cheaper for me. Come on now. Be friendly, guys. Be friendly. Be friendly. But yes, technically he's Irish. He's not English. Irish. He's Scottish, not English. Irish, you know. I'm out of here late as Omar. Damn, everyone's bashing Tierney. I sort of get it. I'm just not there yet. I think people are waiting for him to prove himself, I guess. Especially when you see our team struggling so badly, you start looking towards the new signings. You guys have already decided you've written Pepe off. You're starting to see some value in other players. When you look towards Tierney, you think to yourself, well, I ain't really seen nothing enough from you. So yeah, I get it. I'm not doing a live stream later, but I've got a pre-recorded thing that I'm showing you guys. Hopefully you guys get interest out of that. Have I watched the Brexit movie? No, I've not. I didn't know there was such a thing as a Brexit movie. Yep, down Skippy. All day long. All day long. Straight up. And I don't think there's anything mildly disgraceful about penny pinching. I will do it wherever I can. My next live stream will probably be tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll do a late night with Chig. Who is the greatest African to play in the Premier League? Oh, JJ, baby. Probably not, but I'm sticking with JJ. I'm sticking with JJ. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. It's probably Pogba or Ray. Was it Ray that played for Leeds back in the day? Probably someone like that. But I'm sticking with JJ. I'm sticking with JJ. Chig, what movies would you recommend? New movies: Bad Boys 4, Just Mercy. New movies, older movies. Oh no. Go watch a classic called Tremors, and thank me later. Tremors with Kevin Bacon. Watch it. You will not be disappointed. It'll just prepare for hilarious. It is over the top, but I promise you'll like it. You won't be able to keep your eyes off it. All right, guys, I am out of here, people. Take care. Enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for being so active this Sunday. And I'll be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be back tonight, But I'll be back in a live capacity tomorrow. Peace.